Hello, and welcome back to Breaking the Code. I'm Fontineese Green, author of the Deborah Code, visionary and founder of House of DeBell. If you watched our first episode, we talked about something that resonates deeply with many visionary leaders. We talked about the reality that many people are called, but were never taught how to build. We talked about how revelation without infrastructure leads to frustration. And we introduced the idea that you are not called to hustle, you are called to govern. Today, I want to take that conversation one step further because one of the biggest mistakes I see visionary leaders make is this: they confuse vision with strategy. Vision is powerful, vision is necessary, vision inspires movement, but vision alone does not build anything. Vision shows you what could be. Strategy shows you how it'll happen. And if you only operate in vision, what we'll end up with is a lot of ideas, a lot of passion, a lot of excitement, but very little execution. This is where many leaders get stuck. They say things like, I have so many ideas. I know I'm meant to do something big. I feel like there's more for my life. But when you ask the next question, how will you build it? The room gets quiet. Not because they aren't capable, but because no one taught them how to translate vision into structure. So let me ask you something. In the comments, tell me this: what is one vision or idea that you've been carrying for years but haven't fully built yet? I want you to write it down. Sometimes clarity begins when we say the vision out loud. Now, here's the shift that every visionary leader has to make. You must move from visionary thinking to architect thinking. A visionary sees possibility, an architect designs the structure that makes the possibility real. If someone says they want to build a skyscraper, the vision is exciting. But if they don't have a blueprint, an engineer, a plan, and a foundation, that skyscraper will never exist. The same is true in your life, your leadership, and your business. Vision without a blueprint leaves you stuck in the idea stage. So let me give you three things every visionary must build in order to move from vision to execution. The first is clarity of assignment. Not everything you can do is what you're called to build. One of the biggest traps leaders fall into is trying to do too many things at once. They have 5 ideas, 10 ideas, 15 ideas, but leadership requires focus. So the real question becomes, what's the assignment right now? What problem are you uniquely positioned to solve? Who are you actually called to serve? Let me ask you another question. If someone asked you today, what problem do you solve and who do you solve it for? Could you answer that in one clear sentence? If you can, write it in the comments. If you're still figuring it out, just write clarity in progress because clarity is the beginning of structure. Now, the second thing every visionary needs is a framework. A framework is the structure of how you solve the problem you're assigned to solve. Think about it in this way: doctors have medical frameworks, attorneys have legal frameworks, architects have structural frameworks. But many leaders try to operate without one. They rely on inspiration instead of structure. A framework allows people to understand how your thinking works. It allows people to say the path you've created, to see the path you've created. And it turns your ideas into something that can actually be repeated and taught. This is exactly what the Deborah Code is. It's a framework. It takes the concept of leadership, calling, and governance and gives it structure so that visionaries can actually execute what they've been called to build. The third thing every visionary needs is a system. Frameworks explain the path, systems execute the path. A system is what allows something to work consistently. Without systems, everything depends on your energy. Without systems, everything depends on your availability. Without systems, everything depends on whether you feel motivated that day. But leaders who build systems create sustainability. Mhm. Systems allow ideas to become operations. They allow impact and scale. They allow your work to continue even when you're not in the room. This is why governance matters so much. Governance means you move from being the person who does everything to the person who builds the structure that allows things to function. Now that's leadership. And when you make that shift, everything changes. You stop chasing opportunities, you start building infrastructure, you stop reacting to what shows up, you start directing where things go. You stop feeling overwhelmed by all of your ideas, yeah? And you start organizing them into something powerful. So here's the final question I want to leave with you today. Which of these do you feel like you need the most right now? One, clarity. Two, a framework. Three, systems. Drop the number in the comments because knowing where you are is the first step toward building where you're going. Yeah. Here's what I want you to remember: vision is the beginning, structure is what brings vision to life. You were not given vision just to talk about it. You were given vision to build something with it. And that's exactly what we're going to continue unpacking on this platform: leadership, strategy, systems, wealth, governance in the marketplace. Because your calling deserves structure. And if this episode has helped you think differently, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next conversation. Share this with another visionary who needs this message. And if you're ready to stop sitting on ideas and start building them, comment the word build below. This is Breaking the Code, and the leaders who build the future are the ones who learn how to structure it. Y'all have a good one. See you next time.